you doing? My name is Killian O Flaherty. I'm an 8th generation stonemason but a 1st generation stonecutter from the village of Ballyknockan. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about Ballyknockan and its history. Ballyknockan is about 30-minute drive from Dublin and is responsible for most of the government and lifted buildings in Dublin. If you have a brief look around here with the camera, you can see everything here is Ballyknockan granite. You know, everything around here, around the surrounding area, is made out of Ballyknockan granite. Like even my workshop that's built here, like these flagstones here, they're all waste, spoil from the restoration work that was done in Dublin Castle. All this is Ballyknockan granite. Then gutter stones themselves are actually waste from the refurbishment work that was done on Dublin Castle. So what we'll do is, I'll bring you inside here and I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the work that's ongoing and how Ballyknockan stone is still very relative to modern times, even though you might think the stone isn't used, but it really is still being used today. It's still a story that's being told. You know, so come on in and I'll tell you a bit more. It's I'm 7 years now in my I'm qualified now 2 years, but I served a 5-year apprenticeship, and it's great that I worked, especially with the yard that I worked in, that I was in a proper stonemason, stone cutting yard, and it's great for guys to come up on their way up like myself, who are like when I say young, I'm 28 now, so I'm long enough in the tooth. But it's great that them yards are still there and that the work is still there, and a lot of people aren't aware of the importance of using local and Irish stone, because a lot of the time with stone now, you know, imported stone is used a lot more, and the issue with using imported stone is you don't have Irish guys and women working the stone. That's the knock-on effect. So come on in here and I'll show you a little bit. This is the workshop in here. We've got various different projects on the go here. We've got a bit of lettering here going on there. I think there's a light, you might be able to see that. A bit of lettering going on here. We've got a bit of an acorn here with a flint. A nice bit of detail on that. It's ongoing, but it's still happening, you know. We've got a window surround here. I'll show you a little bit about that. That's a window surround there. It's got 3 barrels on it. It's got different profile shapes, and it'll be fluted. I'll do a separate video on that. We've got some coins here, or cornerstones, that you would see on the set out of a building here. So you know, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on and how it's used and how it's still relevant. Okay, so I've got to take a few minutes here to talk to you a little bit about detailed architectural stone cutting. So what we have here is a window surround, and it's got different profiles on it. It's got a Kima recta here, it's got a fillet in different spots, it's got cavetos and scotias. But probably the most notable detail that you might see there is we have these 3 rounds here, or barrels or cables, whatever way you want to call them. But what's going to happen with them is, you're probably wondering what these lines are. These are going to be flutes. They're going to be fluid. So I use a permanent marker to distinguish where my cutting line is and what line I'm keeping. So the green mark here I use, that's the line that I cut, and the outside lines are what I keep. So that way, if the reason why I use permanent marker in different colours is if I use pencil, suddenly you see loads of lines, but you can get confused. But with the colours, at least you can your eye can focus on it, because it can get a bit confusing after a while. So you're probably wondering, how does he get from a square piece of stone or a block to this? Very simple. I make an end mould, or a master template mould. What I do is, this stone is square when I get it, and I apply it to the stone, like such, and that gives you the overall profile. And what I do for getting these sections is I create reverse molds. The whole idea of these reverse molds, they're like stencils if you think. And they come down like this. And this detail is only for this section here, and that, when I slot that in, it allows me to get to that area for me. But the most important thing about these is, on these templates, is I use this arm and this section of the arm as a crutch. So when I'm making it, it comes in like this, and it allows me to get that area in there. You know, they're all the same. The same application is used. Here's a template here. I think we have a fillet and a caveto there. It drops in like that, and the whole idea is that you move it along, because that won't just slot in there, because the barrel there is in the way. So we start at the end and we work it on, and when it catches in different spots, we then remove the waste and continue it on and on. And they're all the same, but the advantage about these finicky templates is they allow us to bring in our bigger templates, which give us the rounds here. I think this one goes here. See, by using them other templates, they free up space right in here. So we're allowed to apply this in, and it'll just pull along and give us these barrels. It's a bit of work and it's a bit of a thought process involved, but the more of these templates you have, the more accurate and the quicker you'll be when you're making it. You can see these flutes that I was talking about here. I don't know how well you can see that there and how they're done. And the whole idea of taking your time and drawing and fitting it out right. And you can even see here the way each individual flute corresponds with the next one on the next piece of stone. They all match in, every single one of them. So like you can see the different details there. Now this is you can use, depending on what's needed for the job, you can use different tools. Chisel finish, a scotch comb finish, or a furrow finish, whatever is specified on the job. But what people don't understand is with this level of detail of stone is, you can get at removing the waste with different tools, pneumatic grinders or pneumatic tools or angle grinders, and then from there you go into your hand tools. And like there's only so far you can get though. I mean, this is a bun-off chisel which I use to get these out, but that'll only get you so far. What happens then is rubbing comes into effect. So to get these, I have this. The shape for these flutes is like a horseshoe or a U, and what I do is this is a piece of carborundum, and I trim that to the profile of the flutes. What I do is I add, once I get most of the waste out, I physically come in here and I rub them in. I don't know if you can see that or not. And now it's all Ballyknockan granite, so that it's a tough stone, but a little bit of patience and time, it goes a long way, and you'd be surprised how you'd work away at it. It just you need to slow down to get that real final piece right. You know what I mean? Certain tools are good for certain jobs, but at this end of the job, when you get to the detail, to the really minute detail, you have to slow down and get down to the hand tools like that. So I hope that was helpful for you. It certainly was for me. This wasn't my first one to do, so hopefully we'll see a few more. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the project that's going on here. What we've got in front of us here is a acorn and a Bath. It's based off an stately home in Devon. I've seen a few pictures of a job that was being done, and I love the design that I had to do for a job. So just in case you think it's a torpedo or a bullet or something, it's not. So what we've got here with the base, we've got a bullnose and we've got a scotia underneath there. And what's going to happen here is, I hope you can see that the light is a bit generous there. I haven't finished it yet. What's going to happen is these are going to be leaves here, and what will happen is that will curl up more. And you can see that it's still unfinished at the minute, but that's what's going to happen there. And the whole idea is that this here is going to be a leaf as well, and it's going to have a male and a female detail, where you'll have one that is overextending the other. So you'll have 8 leaves in total, and be 4 strong and 4 withdrawn. And what we've got here is there's a great amount of detail in. I think I still have some of the marks on it. There was an awful lot of detail in just setting this out. I think it took me two evenings just to set it out, because the whole idea, you can see the lines here, the way they go up. The whole idea of this, and I'm hoping you can see it well, is it has that diamond shape, but as each row goes up, not only does the shape diminish, but it has to stay true to its form. It can change, because what happens sometimes if you make something smaller like this with geometry is it can tend to either retract or expand, and it can lose its shape as what it is. Whereas if you look at these, they're all actually are the same shape, even if they go smaller. But the whole idea is it really does take time to get it right. And what I happen here is I have a line here. What I do is I cut the line, and I have that with a marker, but I would draw with a pencil maybe of the thickness if I want the V cut, and I would work to that then afterward. So you can kind of see it. And what's going to happen here is I think there'll be a chiseled or a furrowed finish on the actual acorns, and on the leaves I'll have them polished, and they'll come up. And you're wondering what this band is. The whole idea of this band is that will actually, a lot of that is being cut back, because the leaf is going to overhang like this, and the acorn will come down. And even in here, if you can probably see it there, I'm going to undercut that, so that'll step down, and more of these acorns here will kind of reveal themselves as such. So, and I think up here we chiseled, and what's going to happen is, you probably can't see it that well here, is what we'll have kind of like this leaf kind of star finished on top, and that'll probably be, I think we'll go a polished finish on that. I think that'd be really nice, So it's something like that. Like, there's a lot of detail, because like if you think about how big that was, if that was one big square piece, there's a lot of work just in getting this little section here, and that's only a tip that's going to curl over and under. To draw them lines on, you don't use a ruler, because it's a shape that moves. I would simply use a piece of paper. Once I dot it out, that will give you the line there. But the paper can move, but it's still straight, you know. So it's all them little tricks of the trade, for lack of a better word. So I really do hope you have an idea of what's involved. Hopefully if you keep in touch, you'll hopefully see it finished soon enough. Right there. Hope you learned a little bit from that.